right, we just got done talking to the team about Phil Knight and a few things from the book Shoe Dog. You know, Phil started that company in '64 with a $50 loan from his dad, right? I found out that he actually used to come here to sell those shoes right out of the back of his car. And he talked about playing by the rules, right, being relentless in his approach. Certainly that's the type of culture we want to create here with our team. You know, I think it's important as we approach the game to be well prepared. Every detail matters. You know, when in a game of football, opportunities present themselves, and if you're well prepared, you can take full advantage of them. You know, we talk about having a disciplined team. You know, I think the big challenge for us is when nobody's watching, right? I think we've got to evaluate our self-discipline and our routine and our lives in terms of how we approach our work week, and then focus is going to be a very important thing, right? As we go on the road and play, we've got to have a clear vision of what we're trying to accomplish and not get sidetracked by and eliminate the clutter and all the distractions that come with it. So good couple of days of work here. We're going to keep working hard to polish this thing up. What do we got?
Sure. So, Billy, you've been talking about execution a lot, using that word, and I think Anthony talked about it too. Where's the progress that you're seeing in that realm, and how quickly does that usually come? I mean, I know you're probably impatient for it to happen quickly.
Yeah, no, I think you know, we got to eliminate the disaster plays. Does that make sense? I mean, we got to eliminate. That's the way I would describe it, right? I think in the game of football, our teams, we've taken pride. We always say we're not going to give the opponent anything, right? We're going to make them earn everything that they get. And that's what's frustrating to me is I think we play right now. We give the other team a lot of things, right? All three phases of the game. And I think it's just a product of new systems, new way of doing things. We need more repetition. We need more intentional practice. We need to be deliberate about everything we do, walk through, meeting room, practice rep. And then certainly bring all that to the game and do it and have the discipline to execute and do it exactly right on game day, right? And the great thing about football is it requires teamwork, right? So we got 11 players out there. It's the best game there is, right? Because it requires synchronization. It requires great communication, players working together in combinations, all parts of the game, right? So I think we are making progress in a lot of areas of our team, but we're by no means look like what I would like us to look like eventually, you know. And I'm somewhat of a tough critic, but even when we have success on plays, okay, it ain't right sometimes, right? And there'll be, 10 players doing it perfect, and one guy will screw it up, and we don't get what we want out of it. So it's the challenge of coaching, right? It's the challenge of being a player in this game, right? And really understanding the team concept. So, but I do think we're getting closer.
You seem pretty unflappable. I heard that before you got here, that you're very calm on the sideline. How do you do that? I mean, is that a challenge? I mean, are you like, do you work on that? Because you don't seem to be chewing a lot of butt out there.
Yeah, no, I'm a firm believer that if you don't have them ready by the time you get to the park on game day, then you probably haven't done what you were supposed to do the rest of the year, that week. Now, there's some things that are unacceptable, right? Like Trevor Etienne's spiking the ball in the game the other day, right? That's not how we do things, right? There's certain things that are not tolerable, and I think the players understand that, right? So we haven't had any of those specific things that would cause me to be that way. Now, there's been a few scenarios relative to rules and interpretations that maybe I felt differently about, but, that time's coming. But right now, players are doing what they're supposed to do, doing it the way they're supposed to do it, if that makes sense.
You dealt with spring target offenses and no huddle most of your coaching career since you left Clemson. What makes the Tennessee spread different, and have you seen a team that runs it as quickly as they do, and you face them?
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. I think the issue when you play these teams is simulating it in practice, right? How do you recreate this pace in a practice setting with a, look squad or a practice squad to some degree? We have ways in our system where we can ramp it up and go quickly. We work on tempo throughout the year. It's part of our practice plan and spring practice and training camp. But to do it each and every play, these guys are really good at it. I think they're one of the best at it when it comes to pushing the pedal and playing at a pace. I mean, we're talking every 20 and a half seconds they're snapping the ball. So I think that they're in year 2, and certainly they've got the personnel, in particular the quarterback. His ability to rush the ball in particular, I think, makes them unique. So, we've done our very best here. I think we've built some time into our year-round plan to prepare for it, and we look forward to the challenge.
You mentioned quarterbacks running the ball. It seems that from the naked eye that you guys have had problems setting the edge for the quarterback, and and consistently they've been getting outside. How has that come along as far as correcting it?
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. In particular, this past week, I think we had some conflict plays on the edge. The good thing I would say is that in the second half we eliminated that issue. But I think it's a good thing when the staff understands and the players understand what happened, what the concept was, what went wrong, and how to fix it, right? And I think that's when you start to see some growth from your players, when you can make adjustments. They can speak the language. They know what happened, why it happened. Okay, hey, we'll call this. I'll be this part of the defense, and it fits together. So I think work in progress is how I would describe it, and I'm hopeful we can do it better going forward.
You talked in that teleconference about tackling, taking a step back in the USF game. How did you address that this week? And did you see any progress?
Yeah, no, we don't tackle in practice, but we do a number of tackling drills on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we have circuits as well. I think the big thing is you take the game film and you define the fundamental issue, right? You talk about what type of tackle it is, what techniques required. We spend extensive amount of time in the off season studying, defining them. What are the techniques? What are the scenarios? We have drills where we try to recreate them all. So when a player sees it, typically as we grow as a program, they're going to be able to say, okay, hey, that's a trap tackle, that's a vice tackle, that's a sideline tackle, that's 2-on-1 outside in. We got a number of different kind of categories of tackles, and they understand that, and they can apply the right technique.
Coach, obviously you guys want to go 1-0 every single week, but this is going to be your third-ranked opponent of the season already in 4 weeks. Do you guys get up for those kind of games, or is it just, hey, look, every single week we treat every opponent the same?
Yeah, I think there's a human nature element to it, in particular in a rivalry game like this. But, in this league, it comes with the territory, right? I mean, you're going to play a lot of ranked teams. So I think the big thing for us is establishing kind of our routine and our expectation, and each player's self-discipline and his ability to stay committed and be loyal and follow through, right? There's a lot required Sunday to Saturday to get ready and be an elite college football player. More players you got doing that, the better chance you got to have success. So, I think regardless of the opponent, you like our team to prepare the same way.
And since this is going to be y'all's first true road test of the season, and you talked about trying to simulate, Tennessee's fast-paced offense, how do you guys try to simulate for 110,000 crazy Rocky Top fans?
Well, we'll create some crowd noise in the next couple of days here, and challenge the communication in particular on offense. I'm going to tell you what, you're playing in the swamps is a challenge for our defense, from a communication standpoint. So, it's just going to be the other side of the ball, and certainly we spend a ton of time in training camp preparing for those things, and we'll do our very best.
Billy, does Clemson's listed as a starter. What are the strides that young man's made?
He's done a great job, you know, and let me tell you something, he's just getting started. You know, I mean, I think the guy will only continue to improve if he can stay on this course, right? I mean, it's a wholesale change in terms of habits, discipline. We're talking about nutrition, sleep, overall approach. I couldn't be more proud of a guy, you know, and I'm going to tell you something. There's a lot more, you know, like it's scary to think where this guy could go if he continues to lose weight at the rate he is. I mean, he's going to be, he's starting to be a weapon for our team, and I think it'll only get better if he stays the course here from a discipline standpoint.
What's some of the gains or losses, I guess, in his case there?
I think he's lost about 40 pounds since the start of training camp.
Coach, Ventell listed as questionable. What strides has he been able to make just in this last week, 10 days?
Yeah, it's questionable for the game. I think it'll be a game-time decision. You know, he took some reps today. You know, it is really a very subjective injury, if that makes sense. So, you know, this will be Ventell's, you know, he's got a good pulse for his body. He's a veteran player. He knows where he's at. You know, the injury he has is simply about where he's at, you know, and how he feels, right? So, you know, Ventell is a guy, they don't come more loyal, right, in terms of his, you know, desire to do his job for the team and be there for his teammates. So we're excited that he's questionable, you know, and time will tell if he'll be available.
So you mean by that, like, it's not going to get worse, it's kind of just pain management?
That's exactly right. It will get incrementally better as we go. Right.
How do you keep a player like him kind of in check when you know that he's kind of raring to go and will do anything to get back out on the field, but you also have to, like, make sure that he doesn't push himself too far?
Yeah, I think it'd probably be more challenging if he was a young player and hasn't been around the block a little bit. I think he's a guy that's, you know, I think his 6th year of college football. He's smart, he's mature. He's been through a lot of practices and a lot of games, you know, so he kind of has a pulse on where he's at and what he needs to do to get ready to play.
Time for a few more, guys.
Coach, what about Jack Miller and maybe Jaden Hill, their status for going forward?
Yeah, I think Jaden Hill's made a lot of progress. We expect him to potentially be available. You know, tomorrow will have a lot to do with that, but you know, he's done a great job with his rehabilitation process. You know, as a guy that obviously been through some tough up and down moments from an injury perspective. So it's great to see him out there participating and interacting with his teammates and have that smile on his face. You know, this guy loves to play. More importantly, he loves to, you know, be a part of a team and contribute to the team. So Jack Miller, you know, I think is out this week.
Getting back to your demeanor, I mean, how would you describe it in practice as opposed to the sideline? Is it different? Are you the same steady guy, or how would you?
Yeah, no, I think practice is a little bit different, right? I think it's a teaching environment. That's where you do your work, right? Get them ready in that setting. And, you know, I think coaches, that's what you got a staff for too, right? I mean, I think each coach is in a leadership position with his guys, with his unit. We work together as a group to get the team ready each week.
All right, last question here, man.
It seems like a lot of your players have been going to the Ron McDonald House or going to food banks. I just wanted to know where that kind of initiative came from and what do you think that they're getting out of it as well as giving back to the community?
Yeah, I think it's a unique part of their platform. I think, you know, there's a lot that goes into those experiences, but I think oftentimes when we go do work for other people in a service area, we go there thinking that we're going to help other people, but in reality, we walk away and it makes us better, right? I mean, we come away with gratitude, right, with perspective. And I think that's the vision in that regard, is to create opportunities for our players to serve others, to expose them to others that maybe don't have the opportunity that they have. There, in turn, it affects their character, their perspective, and their approach to life. So, you know, we got a lot of people working behind the scenes to coordinate all that, but I think it's good for our players and certainly proud of them for doing it.